Vande Shri Purushottamam cha Paramam Dhamaksharam Gnanadam Vande Pragaji Bhaktameva Managam Brahma Swarupam Muda Vande Yagna Purushadasa Charanam Shri Yogirajam Tatha Vande Shri Pramukham Mahanta Guninam Mokshaya Bhaktya Sada. With all that is going on, it seems natural to reflect and appreciate our satsang community, our mandirs, and everything else that Guru Hari, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and Mahant Swami Maharaj have blessed us with in this life. Perhaps now more than ever, we can see the value of their gifts, the promise of our place in Akshardham, the knowledge of the true nature of this world and the joys associated with it, the wisdom that nothing can happen unless Bhagwan deems it necessary for my betterment, or even the promise of a life better than the one we were destined for. What allows Bhagwan to give so much to his bhakta? Love, at its purest, most selfless and resilient form. Bhagwan's love for his bhakta has no regard for the bhakta's caste, the bhakta's gender, intellect, or reputation. Bhagwan's love for his bhakta isn't frivolous or whimsical, it's forgiving, committed, and loyal. Bhagwan's love for his bhakta has one agenda: to free the bhakta from misery and ignorance, to lead the bhakta to lasting peace and bliss. Despite Bhagwan's elevated spiritual state, despite Bhagwan's personal inclination for austerity, despite Bhagwan's unearthly wisdom, Bhagwan has undying love for his bhakta, even when the bhakta often forgets. Mahant Swami Maharaj often reminds us about the inherent divinity in all satsangis. He urges us to be mindful of this divinity and to not discount it based on superficial observations and short-sighted analysis. At times, we struggle to wholeheartedly buy into this understanding, especially when we witness something or hear something or experience something that contradicts what we expect from divine beings. But what if a Hari Bhakta's divinity is not primarily related to what he or she has accomplished or how good he or she is? What if a Hari Bhakta's divinity is primarily based on one fact, that Bhagwan loves that Hari Bhakta? It's a lot easier to see what Swami Shri is trying to teach us. Understanding Bhagwan's love for the Bhakta and being mindful of that love benefits us in many ways. It improves our ability to harvest lessons from the lives of our gurus when we listen to prasangs and do manan on them. It gives us a healthy and enduring source of self-confidence and motivation. And as we alluded to already, it helps us understand the unique divinity inherent in all satsangis. It helps us to not focus on the mistakes that we make, but the destiny that ties us together. It is an important reminder that the enemy isn't the individual who errs, but the swabhavas that plague us all. Bhagwan Swaminarayan's love for the bhakta had many forms of expression. Love inspired Maharaj to save his bhakta from famine, drought, oppression, violence, and theft. But even more poignantly, it drove Maharaj to save his bhakta from the more subtle challenges of Maya, swabhavas, kusang, desire, and fear. Some of the most daunting saves Maharaj made were when he had to save the bhakta from him or herself. If a bhakta consistently chooses Bhagwan over Maya, over time, with Bhagwan's strength and compassion, the bhakta is eventually gifted with Bhagwan's bliss. But choosing Bhagwan over Maya isn't always easy and obvious. Overcoming ignorance and attachment is a big part of the process. It's up to the bhakta to make good choices based on sound reasoning. Today, we will see how Bhagwan's love for his bhakta drove him to overlook his bhakta's poor choices and to save him from kusang. As the ruler of Karyani, Bapu Vasta Khachar ruled over a handful of villages. Relative to the two slightly larger states of Gadhara, ruled separately by Jiva Khachar and Dada Khachar, Vasta Khachar's kingdom was smaller. He was, however, proud of his position. Once, Vasta Khachar traveled the 20 some odd miles on horseback from Karyani to Gadada to experience divinity. He looked forward to having Sriji Maharaj's darshan and to listening to his insightful wisdom. Over the years, Vasta Khachar's nishchay for Maharaj had grown. On numerous occasions, he had experienced Maharaj's supernatural intelligence, power, and purity. To be fair, Vasta Khachar would admit that his nishchay was more a result of Maharaj's doing than any personal endeavor, but it was there nonetheless. Vasta Khachar knew that he had met Bhagwan, all-powerful, omniscient, glorious beyond measure, and his means to moksha. And even if he forgot this fact from time to time, if you asked him, he would tell you he believed in it completely. Vasta Khachar's presence brought great joy to Sriji Maharaj. Maharaj said, "Vasta Khachar, I've been waiting for you for so long. If you had not come just now, I would have sent people to go and call you." Vasta Khachar was overwhelmed. Maharaj's affection humbled him. Unprompted, Jiva Khachar interrupted the moment. "Really, Maharaj? So much love?" Jiva Khachar reveled in the respect neighboring rulers had for him. They all saw him as the senior ruler in Gadada. However, in satsang, he always came a distant second to the much younger but incredibly devout Dada Khachar. This became a big problem for Jiva Khachar. Now, a side note on Jiva Khachar, satsang will never forget that Jiva Khachar is the one who actually brought Maharaj to Gadada. He has been immortalized in the exhibition in Gadada today by Pramukh Swami Maharaj. It's a safe assumption to conclude that he is probably in Akshardham right now. During this prasang, we're going to hear some facts that will make Jiva Khachar look like a bad person. But it's important to note that the purpose of telling these facts is not to make Jiva Khachar look like a bad person, but rather to emphasize the level of compassion that Maharaj had. Maharaj smiled genuinely at Jiva Khachar's childish mockery and said, "Yes, Vasta Khachar is a spiritual man. I am drawn to such devotees and long for their darshan. Vasta Khachar's faith runs deep. Of course his darshan would make me happy." Jiva Khachar sat and stared as Maharaj spoke. He did not hear a single word. A few moments later, Jiva Khachar stood up suddenly and he said, "Vasta, let's go. You can stay at my place." Maharaj interjected, "He's come to see me. He can stay here." But Jiva Khachar insisted. Vasta Khachar couldn't say no. Privately, Vasta Khachar felt that Jiva Khachar's warm reception and personal invite were a huge honor. He didn't want to hurt his feelings or spoil relations. Why does the Jiva insist on doing things that Bhagwan tries to save him or her from? For now, let's group all the reasons into the category of basic ignorance and move on. In Vasta Khachar's case, he knew Maharaj was Bhagwan, but he cared a little too much about being seen as important in society as well. Enough that he thought it was a good choice to go against Maharaj's Agna to win the affection of a big shot like Jiva Khachar. If you refuse to stay inside, if you insist on shaking hands with everyone and touching everything, if you refuse to wash your hands, if you insist on touching your face, it would be very hard for a doctor to help you avoid getting sick right now, even if your best friend was the best doctor for infectious diseases. More than likely, the benefit of knowing such a doctor would only be realized after some suffering. Vasta Khachar had made up his mind. He got up. Maharaj ne page lagya. Maharaj was disappointed. Vasta Khachar said to him, "Maharaj, Bapu is insisting, and I don't want to disappoint him. I'm just going to go and get settled. I'll be back as soon as I'm set up." Maharaj remained silent. Vasta Khachar left. Maharaj sighed. Vasta Khachar will not come back. Muktanand Swami asked, "Maharaj, what do you mean?" Maharaj explained, "He will fall when he hears Jiva Khachar and Buddha Dadal's words. His nischay for me will crumble. They will sow seeds of hate for me." Meanwhile, Vasta Khachar had made his way to Jiva Khachar's home, a short distance away. Jiva Khachar tended to his every need personally. They had an excellent meal, after which they retired to the living room. Having developed a recent friendship with Jiva Khachar, Buddha Dadal was present as well. He began to speak. "Vasta Bapu, are you aware of the meaning behind Maharaj's complimentary words? Do you know why Maharaj is pleased to see you again?" Vasta Khachar sat silently. What was there to say to such an odd question? While massaging Vasta Khachar's feet, Buddho Dhadal addressed Jiva Khachar saying, Mota Bapu, I didn't realize Vasta Bapu was so innocent, gullible even. Vasta Khachar was surprised, confused, and a bit hurt by the tone of this dialogue. Jiva Khachar noticed Vasta Khachar's confusion and thus subtly gestured to Buddho Dhadal to go on. You are aware of what's happening, aren't you? Maharaj has laid claim to a portion of Dada Khachar's darbar to allow his family, Dharamkul, to move in. That's not all. We've heard that Dada Khachar's portion of Gadada has been split into two, and that Maharaj plans to hand over each of these portions to his two brothers. Now, Dado is an idiot, but it's clear to us that Maharaj intends to continue praising others like you to claim their property. I find the whole situation quite unsettling. Look, we've made him what he is by calling him Bhagwan. That's on us. But he's the one taking advantage of the innocence of faithful people by settling his family. Vasta Khachar's world had just imploded. His initial confusion was gone. His mind had been poisoned. All kinds of doubt had taken root. He needed to leave. He needed clarity. He needed the truth. Unfortunately for him, Buddho Dhadal was not done. Bapu, with sweet words, he's managed to make fools out of all these Kathi darbars. If these fools don't wake up, they will all lose their villages to this homely Brahmin from the east without fighting a single battle. Be honest. How much of a burden has he placed on you? He pompously celebrates Diwali and Ankut at your residence, invites hordes of people, and at your expense, he gains adulation. Visions of the Diwali and Ankut Utsav streamed into Vasta Khachar's mind. He saw the endless throngs of people that seemed to end at the outskirts of the village. All the while, Maharaj sat on a raised platform, meeting with and talking to the people. He could still hear the people saying, Sahajanand Swami Maharaj Ni Jai. He thought to himself, I took on all the burden, and he got all the praise. Jiva Khachar saw Vasta Khachar's eyes and realized Buddho Dhadal's message had gotten through. He decided it was time to let it all simmer. He gestured to Buddho Dhadal to stop. Later that evening, a messenger had come from the darbar saying, Vasta Khachar, Maharaj has commanded that you pack your things and stay with him in the darbar. Jiva Khachar was quick to respond. You see, he couldn't even tolerate you staying here. He's got an agenda and he doesn't want to be exposed. Vasta Khachar didn't know what to say. He kept staring blankly at the floor. I'm going to make a quick visit to the darbar, he mumbled. Buddho Dhadal commented, Sure, go. Haven't had enough? Fine. It's your life. All I'm saying is, for your sake, don't forget what you've heard here. The walk to Dada Khachar's darbar hastened the brewing process. Maharaj saw Vasta Khachar on foot. Have you brought your horse, or did you leave your things there? Vasta Khachar looked sideways at Maharaj. I need to go back to Karyani tomorrow. There's no need to make changes just for one night. It pained Maharaj to listen to these words. He realized that Vasta Khachar was now primed to fall from the path of moksha. He knew Buddho Dhadal had more to say. Maharaj said, I guess you have commitments to keep. Do what you must. Just don't fall too deep into what you hear there. Maharaj's words brought the simmering thoughts in Vasta Khachar's mind to a rapid boil. His prejudices broke his ability to discern truth. Vasta Khachar sat facing Maharaj but looking away. He couldn't believe Maharaj had the guts to still try him. Many quiet, uncomfortable moments passed. Finally, Vasta Khachar got up and said, I'm leaving. Muktanand Swami, Murji Brahmachari, Dada Khachar, and the rest of the Sabha watched the entire episode in utter disbelief. As Vasta Khachar left the darbar, Maharaj said, Vasta has been poisoned. He will not come back to the darbar for darshan. The next day, Vasta Khachar fulfilled Maharaj's prophetic words. He went straight home to Karyani, not caring to ask Maharaj's leave. Though he saw it coming, Vasta's decision hurt Maharaj, considering that for a bhakta of Bhagwan, death in its truest sense is when the bhakta falls from ekantik dharma or the path of moksha. Maharaj said to Muktanand Swami, Swami, Vasta Khachar's Jiva is our responsibility. I can't let him take this path to his own personal hell. Maharaj called Bhaguji, make arrangements. Tomorrow morning, I want to go to Karyani. Tell Dada Khachar to come as well. The next morning, as Maharaj and his entourage made their way to Karyani, Vasta Khachar had just finished his morning routine and was thinking about the past 2 days. He re-examined his life. He stared blankly at a recess in the wall where he kept a murti Maharaj had given him of Dharma Bhakti and himself, so that he could do puja every morning. His mind started churning random thoughts. He thought, Jiva Khachar didn't stop Buddho Dadal the whole time. He must support his stance. And he's such a great man. The king of Bhavnagar holds him in such high regard. Therefore, I should believe him. Should I continue offering puja to these murtis? Should I allow myself to be another innocent victim caught in Maharaj's net of delusional devotion? Just then, Maharaj climbed up his front porch, entered his house, and yelled, Vasta Khachar, this net does not victimize innocent jivs into delusion. This net of devotion rescues jivs from the traps of Maya and bestows kalyan upon them. Vasta Khachar turned around and saw Maharaj speaking. Still, he wondered, has he come to try to capture my villages for himself? Maharaj just laughed at him. Vasta, really? If I intended to take these small barren kingdoms from all you Kathis, then why? Why would I say no to the queen of Dharampur when she offered me her entire state of over 500 fertile villages? So that I can take away, 3 or 4 from you? Vasta Khachar realized that Maharaj was answering questions that were just in his mind. Was he really just a homely Brahmin? Or was there something else to him entirely? Maharaj walked out of the house and sat on a bed on Vasta Khachar's front porch. There, Muktanand Swami, a few other Santo, and Dada Khachar all sat watching Maharaj. Vasta Khachar slowly followed Maharaj out of the house. He couldn't look into Maharaj's eyes. He put his hands together and then the tears streamed from his eyes. He begged for Maharaj's forgiveness. Maharaj, I'm so sorry. Buddho Dadal's hateful words led me astray, and Jiva Khachar seemed to support everything he said. I was full of hate, but you came back for me. You answered the questions that were tearing my mind apart. My heart is clean now. My doubts are cleared. I understand now what happened. Please bless me to never see you as anything less than divine. Maharaj was pleased with Vasta Khachar. He said to him, blessings cannot make that happen. You have to cultivate the right samjhan. You have to continue doing samagam. And you have to keep kusang at a distance. I asked you not to go to his home, but you ignored who it was that was telling you not to go, and simply allowed your attachments to dictate terms of your decision. Still tearing, Vasta Khachar agreed, yes, Maharaj, I disobeyed you, and Buddho Dadal's words broke me. Maharaj said, Bapu Vasta Khachar? Vasta Khachar replied, Maharaj, don't call me Bapu. From now on, just call me Vasto. I don't deserve any respect. Maharaj smiled at him and said, you've opened your heart and cleaned out all your doubts. You don't need to feel ashamed. Just make sure that whenever you come to Gadada, you stay with Dada Khachar. If you go anywhere else, stay with people who have Dhrad Nishtha. If you do so, your satsang will flourish without any hindrances. You have my blessings. You've been forgiven. The matter is closed. It need not be discussed any further. Maharaj and Swami will always love us. They will always guide us to a happier existence. They will always make the necessary sacrifice to solidify our moksha. They have spent lifetimes going way beyond what we could fairly expect from them. They are our inspiration. They are our guides. They are our everything. In difficult times such as what we are facing now, it is important to be mindful and grateful for the love that Bhagwan Swaminarayan and Mahant Swami Maharaj have for us. And perhaps there's no better occasion to be driven by that love than what we are all currently going through. Some people will talk about how these calamities lighten the burden of the earth and bring balance. Some people will talk about how these calamities expose the true nature of people, good and bad. But for those of us who have experienced the compassion and love of Bhagwan and his Sant, this is an opportunity to be inspired by the love we have benefited from and to pay it forward, to be aware of those who are suffering more than us and become more selfless, to help those who need it, to ease someone else's pain and worry. It is an opportune time to grow spiritually and as a contributing member to society. Let us all pray to Maharaj and Swami. Humans are a resilient species, and as many times before, we will overcome this. But let us all vow to come out of it better, as better satsangis, and better representatives of Bhagwan Swaminarayan and Guru Hari Man Sai Maharaj. Shri Swaminarayan Bhagwan Ni Jai.
શ્રી સ્વામિનારાયણ ભગવાનની જય. વચનામૃત મધ્યનું 46મું. મરણ દોરીનું એકાંતિક ધર્મમાંથી પડ્યાનું. પછી કીર્તન ગાઈ રહ્યા તો શ્રીજી મહારાજ બોલ્યાજી, આ સંસારને વિશે જે સત્પુરુષ હોય તેને તો કોઈક જીવને લૌકિક પદાર્થની હાન વૃદ્ધિ થતી દેખીને તેની કોઈનો હર્ષ શોક થાય નહીં. અને જ્યારે કોઈકનું મન ભગવાનના માર્ગમાંથી પાછું પડે ત્યારે ખરખરો થાય છે. એટલે સત્પુરુષ તમને દિલાસો આપે પણ એ ઉપરનું છે. તો ખરેખર તો સત્સંગમાંથી પાછા પડાય એ અમને જોવાનું. સત્સંગ પાછા ના પડાય. બાકી તો કોઈને હાર વૃદ્ધિ થાય, કોઈને લાખ રૂપિયા મળે, કોઈને લાખ જાય, એમાં એમને રસ નથી. એ તો નાશવંત છે. અનંત જન્મથી આપણે કુટારો કર્યો છે અને એમાં કંઈ બરકત આવી નથી. જો આ ગયા જન્મના તમને ખ્યાલ છે, ખબર છે, કોઈને કાંઈ ખબર નથી. તો એવા તો અનંત જન્મ આપણે કર્યા. એટલે એ બધું નાશવંત છે, તુચ્છ છે, ક્ષણિક છે. એમાં સત્પુરુષને કંઈક તમારે ધોકો થાય, કંઈ જાય, કંઈ આવે, એમને કંઈ પડી નથી. પણ સત્સંગમાંથી પગ પાછો પડે અને ભગવાનમાંથી વૃત્તિ તૂટે એ અમને જોવાનું છે. અને એના માટે જ આવ્યા છે. બીજું તો અનંત જન્મથી આપણે કોટારો કરીએ છીએ, એના માટે નથી આવ્યા. તો જો મહારાજ એ જ વાત કરે છે, આ સંસારને વિશે જે સત્પુરુષ હોય, આ સંસારને વિશે એટલે એ પ્રગટની વાત છે. આ સંસારની વિશે જે સત્પુરુષ હોય તેને તો કોઈક જીવને લૌકિક પદાર્થની હાર વૃદ્ધિ થતી દેખીને તેની કોરનો હર્ષ શોક થાય નહીં. મૂળ મુદ્દો મહારાજ સ્વામી જે માટે પૃથ્વી પર આવ્યા છે મોક્ષ માટે, એમાં ગડબડ ના થાય એ જોવાનું છે. જો આપણે આ સત્સંગની વાત, સત્સંગમાં આપણે આવ્યા ત્યારથી 5-25 વર્ષ જીવવાનું છે, કાઢવાનું છે. એ ના બગડે, એકે દિવસ બગડે નહીં, 1 સેકન્ડ બગડે નહીં. એ તકેદારી ભગવાન રાખે છે. એ બધા મોટા મોટા વેપારી હોય એને એક જરાક ખામી આવી જાય તો કરોડોનું નુકસાન થાય અને કરોડો નફો થાય. તો જેમ વેપારીઓની વાત છે એમ મોક્ષની વાત છે. એમ મોક્ષમાં જરાક તમે ખામી આવી જાય કેટલું નુકસાન થાય, અને જરાક કંઈક વૃદ્ધિ પમાય એવું હોય તો ઘણો બધો લાભ થાય.